Good afternoon. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa will join world leaders in New York this week for the annual high-level segment of the United Nations General Assembly. SABC News correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease is there. Sherwin, a very good afternoon to you. Look, when is President Ramaphosa jetting in, and what can you tell us about the agenda for his meeting next week?
Well, Alicia, our location is right outside the hotel where South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and the entire South African delegation, which I must tell you includes some 9 ministers, including international relations, state security, communications, health and environment, among others. They will be staying here, and his arrival expected in about 2 hours from now, due to arrive at JFK in a short time, and very much a packed schedule for him. He'll meet this evening with the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and that will preview his attendance of the Sustainable Development Goals Summit, which is happening tomorrow, but really to galvanize momentum towards the achievement and implementation of the targets and 17 goals, from no poverty to food security, issues of gender equality, and then, of course, strong governance institutions. And what the latest SDG implementation report tells us, Alicia, is that only 15% of all the targets are on track or are regressing. So very much a strong focus here on development issues, but of course those cross currents will collide with some of the geopolitical concerns, issues around coups in West Africa, the devolving civil war in places like Sudan, and then of course on Wednesday the UN Security Council will convene a Security Council meeting at the highest level, heads of state and government, to discuss the situation in Ukraine. We understand that President Volodymyr Zelensky will be briefing in person, and we understand that President Ramaphosa might also present the African Peace Initiative to the global international community. So a packed schedule here, including a roundtable with business leaders in New York tomorrow night. So certainly much to look forward to in terms of what the South African delegation will be engaged in.
Absolutely, Sherwin. Look, I'm very interested in the fact that, as you've just mentioned, the Ukrainian President Zelensky will, of course, be attending there and is expected to address the General Assembly come Tuesday, where he could possibly face Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on the same table. This could be very interesting, Sherwin, possibly even the big show at the Assembly.
Yeah, look, the concern here is that the conflict in Ukraine, the attendance, as you mentioned, of Sergei Lavrov, the attendance of Volodymyr Zelensky, the attendance of Joe Biden, the US president, is going to suck the energy out of the room in terms of some of the important issues that developing countries want to focus on. Yes, we need to sort out the geopolitical concerns. We need to arrest the situation that is evolving in terms of coups in West Africa, the situation in Sudan, the Palestinian issue, Security Council reform. But they also want to focus on things like reforming the Security Council, reforming international financial institutions, the question of countries that are paying more on servicing their debt than investing in quality education and quality healthcare is a big concern. How do you talk about a just transition in terms of the energy sector, the climate sector, when you don't have the requisite finance that has been promised by developing countries, the Green Climate Fund to the tune of $100 billion annually? So a lot of space here this week to have those discussions as the developing world really tries to impress their needs on some of the big nations here, including the United States, and certainly don't want Ukraine, issues of Ukraine, for example, to dominate discussions here. So certainly much to play for in terms of South Africa and developing nations, Alicia.
A very quick one, Sherwin. Why then is South Africa's participation at the Assembly so beneficial or crucial? Are there specific talks that are aimed at providing solutions to our current nagging challenges, like, of course, our ongoing energy crisis, the high unemployment rates, and even the less spoken about immigration crisis that we are currently suffering as a country, Sherwin?
I can tell you what the South Africans are focused on. They're focused on developmental issues. They're focused on issues of financing in terms of climate ambition. They're focused on getting the sustainable development goals back on track. But what they need from the developing world, what they need is for the developed world to show up in terms of the promises they've made, in terms of the financing that is required. And that really is a big tussle that one is going to see play out here in the days ahead.
All right, we're going to leave it there. That was SABC correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease in New York for us, as President Cyril Ramaphosa is waited to arrive for the UN General Assembly. We will be, of course, touching base with him a little later on in the program.